There are some Senate Democrats who are saying it's time to freeze Saudi cooperation over Russia ties. Does the White House agree with this?
I think the president's been very clear that this is a relationship that we need to continue to reevaluate, that we need to be willing to revisit. And certainly in light of the Opic decision, I think that's where he is. And he's willing to work with Congress to think through what that relationship ought to look like going forward. Again, I don't have any decisions to announce or speak to today, but I think you'll find that the president obviously disappointed by the OPEC decision and is going to be willing to work with Congress as we think about what the right relationship with Saudi Arabia needs to be going forward.
What's the timeline on that? I mean, you have winter coming. You have Russia hitting energy infrastructure in Ukraine. You have Europe about to go through tough energy limitations. So what is the timeline on looking at that Saudi cooperation?
I think the timeline's now, and I think he's going to be willing to start to have those conversations right away. I don't think this is anything that's going to have to wait or should wait, quite frankly, for much longer. You mentioned the winter coming. Clearly, that's a factor here. But more importantly, for the president, it's really about our own national security, our national security interests, and those are the American people, and that's what he's going to put foremost.
Listen, we sell massive amounts of arms to the Saudis. I think we need to rethink those sales. I think we need to lift the exemption that we have given this OPEC Plus cartel from U.S. price-fixing liability. I think we need to look at our troop presence in the Middle East and Saudi Arabia. I mean, listen, for years, we have looked the other way as Saudi Arabia has chopped up journalists, has engaged in massive political repression for one reason. We wanted to know that when the chips were down, when there was a global crisis, that the Saudis would choose us instead of Russia. Well, they didn't. They chose Russia. They chose to back up the Russians, drive up oil prices, which could have the potential to fracture our Ukraine coalition. And there's got to be consequences for that. So whether it's lifting the cartel's immunity or whether it's rethinking our troop presence there, our security relationship, I just think it's time to admit that the Saudis are not looking out for us.
So it's been 3 months since President Biden met with Saudi Crown Prince and now Prime Minister Mohammed bin Salman, shared that infamous fist bump. There it is, bang. The president's still defending that meeting this week, saying it wasn't just about oil, it's about a whole bunch of other things. But given this week's decision by OPEC, what do you think? Did President Biden get played?
Listen, I don't have any problem with American presidents meeting with our friends or adversaries. I think it's clear that right now the relationship is broken, but it's been broken under Democratic presidents and Republican presidents. So I'm never going to criticize an American president for meeting with another leader. It's clear that we didn't get as much as we needed to out of that meeting between the United States and the Saudi.